Welcome to your weekend on Spectrum News 1. I'm Catalina Villegas. Leading your Saturday evening, wildfires. This has been a record-breaking wildfire season, and we haven't even gotten to the peak of it. Firefighters have made some progress toward containing both the El Dorado and Bobcat fires. The Bobcat fire has burned through nearly 30,000 acres in the Angeles National Forest, and even though this fire started almost a week ago, it's only 6% contained. Firefighters say that western and some of the eastern fronts of that fire are heading toward areas that have previously burned. For many people in those foothill communities, this has been a week of very little sleep, and the danger is not fully gone at this time. There are still evacuation warnings in place for Duarte, Bradbury, Monrovia, Sierra Madre, Pasadena, and Altadena. And there's also the El Dorado fire. That's the one that started during a gender reveal party. It's burned through more than 14,000 acres over the last week. Firefighters have made decent progress here, now nearly 40% contained. Some residents in the Yucaipa area are still under evacuation orders, however. That fire, by the way, it's destroyed 4 homes, and even as we speak, homes are burning up and down the state. People's lives are being turned upside down in a matter of seconds. And while the most important part to rebuilding after a fire is having insurance, for those living near fire-prone areas, it's getting harder and harder to get a policy. Insurers are losing tons of money rebuilding homes in fire areas, and they're getting tired of it, honestly. This week, the legislature went home without taking any action on this issue. So homeowners, for now, have been left to deal with these problems themselves. To get a sense of how they're feeling, I went to speak with them. 20 years ago this month, Rick Dalby came to an open house at this Hollywood Hills home and fell in love.
I found this place and put an offer in that night, and moved a month later.
From his balcony, you can normally see from Glendale to Sylmar, but smoke from the Bobcat and El Dorado fires are a reminder that there's nothing normal about what is happening in California.
This morning, it smelled like the fire was like right next door. You could just smell it.
Rick's home near the top of a hill sits in a high fire risk area, which means every year in the spring, he has to clear the brush away from his property or pay a fine. The information is tracked online.
I've been doing the fire brush clearance, I think, since I moved in.
But not even the inspections have been able to save Rick from what a growing number of California residents are struggling with: being dropped from their homeowners insurance.
I was given a cancellation notice, and they were just the typical reason is we're not writing in high fire hazard areas.
In the last 20 years, Rick has been dropped from 3 different policies, and home insurance is a requirement for a mortgage.
And I was able to get a new policy 10 months later. Got the cancellation notice this spring, and I was just going like, oh no, like going through this again. It's not even been a year.
It's happening all across the state, but a tsunami of cancellations could be on the way because the ban that has kept insurers from canceling policies for 800,000 homes in high-risk areas is about to expire and can't be renewed. Insurance companies say they're overexposed.
Once they start having a lot of claims within a zip code, they'll just go, no more policies in that zip code, or cancel policies in that zip code.
And with each fire, the situation gets worse. 30 miles away, Jenny Campbell, the executive director of the Los Angeles Region Community Recovery Organization, is updating her dashboard. Jenny's job is to help Woolsey fire victims by trying to fund what insurance, FEMA, and personal savings weren't able to cover.
The only reason that we exist is because there are people out there who do not have the ability to recover on their own due to the lack of insurance.
Since the Woolsey fire, the number of homeowners that have been dropped from insurance and are being forced to turn to California's expensive and bare-bones FAIR plan has gone up by 50%. Jenny, who survived Woolsey, was dropped from her insurance this month.
It's touching my own life because I live where the fire happened, and because the fire came through this area, we have now had our insurance canceled.
The solution to the accelerating problem, according to Jenny, consumer and insurance groups, must include having homeowners like Rick paying more.
I'm really grateful to be here. but you have to adapt to where you live and be willing to, incur, in some cases, extra costs.
Rick is fortunate and can afford those extra costs as long as his policy isn't canceled. There are a lot of different factors in all of this, from the legislature not taking action to cities and counties allowing development in wildland-urban interface. Residents and insurers are also playing a part in this messy situation. So to give us the perspective of insurers is Janet Reese, joining us now via Skype. She is the Director of Strategic Communication for the Insurance Information Institute and also went to my high school. Go Pilots!
Go Pilots.
So let's get to it. So many homeowners like Jenny and Rick are caught between a rock and a hard place because insurers have limits on how much they can raise rates. Can you please explain to us the calculus that insurers are making when it comes to insuring homes in these risky areas of California?
So the way insurance works is we spread our risk. So not any one insurer would want to have all the risk in one area, especially if it's a high fire risk area. So once an insurer has the amount of risk they think they can handle and pay claims for, because that's the ultimate thing that insurance does, then they will either not write more, or if they end up having too many homes in one particular area, they might non-renew some of them. This is a common practice all across the nation, not just in high wildfire risk, but hurricane, tornado, any area where there is a high amount of risk.
Right. Now, Janet, one of the solutions that some groups have given is that if homeowners clear their homes of brush, it will encourage companies to give them a policy. But as we saw from the story, Rick is already doing that. He's been doing that for 2 decades, and he's still being dropped. So is this really a solution?
It can be a solution, and what I always encourage people to do is to shop and compare. So, there may be one company who, for many reasons, can't take a home in a high-risk area, but there may be another company who can. One great way to find out who's writing in your area is to talk to a local insurance broker, and that's someone who writes insurance for several different companies. They can let you know this company isn't taking any more, this company's non-renewing, but this company's still writing insurance. And of course, the FAIR plan, the California FAIR plan is available to all comers.
So I was just going to ask about the FAIR plan specifically. What does it do to the insurance industry if more and more homeowners in high-risk areas are forced to turn to that plan?
So the California FAIR plan is supported by all the insurance companies. What we would prefer to do is be able to write more policies in with our admitted carriers, all the standard carriers that you've probably heard of and seen ads for on TV. So we're working with the state legislature and the Department of Insurance to be able to charge the right rates so that we can insure more people in high wildfire risk areas.
Yeah, the problem is that didn't happen this year. And as we know, we're in the middle of a fire season and these folks are in a very precarious situation. So it's so tough to figure out what is the solution because the legislature is not taking action. You guys are limited on how much you can charge. This ban is about to expire. So much to cover. But thank you so much for joining us, Janet Reese from the Insurance Information Institute. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.